You're listening to the See the Unseen podcast, where our number one focus is creating a little visibility for people who deserve a whole lot of spotlight. I'm your host, Melissa Georgeoff, and I'm here to share some amazing stories that can transform and inspire lives. So get ready to take those blinders off and see the unseen. Welcome to the podcast. I'm here tonight with Charlie Brown. Charlie is a Nashville singer-songwriter. He's a high school teacher, and he is a father and a dad. And he wrote What I Wouldn't Give by Blake Shelton, and he got a gold record out of that. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what he's up to next. So welcome to the podcast, Charlie.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So I thought that we would first kind of talk about where you grew up. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Wood River, Illinois.
Okay, so me and Andy have this joke about Wood River, okay, because I say it's Wood River, okay, and he said it's two words, it's Wood River, and I said no, if you don't sound like you're from around here if you don't say Wood River, like all one word.
Right.
Is that true?
Well, it's kind of one word for me.
Is it? It's for me too.
We were actually we're in the last house in Wood River. So we were Roxana School District. So we were living in Wood River, but going to Roxana. So there was we were right on the line and crosstown rival. And it was pretty cool.
I feel like maybe you just didn't want to say that you're from Roxana.
Oh, no, I'm very proud to be from Roxana.
Well, I guess you are. I know that you wrote a song about it, which we're going to talk about. And I do have a picture of, I've been kind of being rough on Roxana. I did that on the podcast with Tommy. I made a comment about moving to Bethalto for your women. Because I said my kid's dad moved here. But anyway, I do have to say that the football team was amazing, even though that, you guys did kick our butt. So I do have a picture of you here. This is you. I guess you really can't see this here. So that's your football picture. And it's in black and white. Look at these pictures. They look super old.
The smallest guy on the team.
But I did that because I feel like every guy's dream is to have their football picture up, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. Playing football for Roxana was amazing. Playing for Charlie Rach, Bill Smith, Jeff Welker.
Charlie Rach was an awesome coach.
Yeah.
And
he was amazing.
Yeah, my kid's dad was the captain of the football team, I hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He sure was. He was great.
Yeah, and you wrote a song for Roxana for the football team, right? Or Tapping on the Lockers? What was that for?
Did.
I have a picture. I'm pulling it up here. I'll show you here what I'm doing. So tell me about that. Tell me about writing that song.
That was a lot of fun. I was coaching for Roxana, and I was volunteering. Just wanted to be out there and be a part of it. I ended up back in Roxana teaching, so that was a pretty cool moment. Then I started coaching football, and then just watching all these kids. All the memories came back, and sitting in the same locker room as the coach, it was pretty surreal. And so this song idea came to mind, and I was just imagining what I would have said back in the 80s, before going out onto the field, because we were listening to Van Halen and things like that before we ran out there. So I was trying to write a song of what I would want to say before I went out there if I had a song back then. So I got to kind of get in my 17-year-old brain, and I wrote this song and was excited about it. And then Chuck Sheets, his son, was playing, and my nephew George was playing on the team at the time, and my nephew Gage, and it was just a really cool thing. Then we ended up just doing a video to go with it, and it
yeah, I did see the
kind
video.
of took off.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. So you were coaching as well. So you were teaching and coaching and playing music,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to small town. Okay, small town, and now you're in Bethalto. That's my hometown.
Yes.
So see,
it's a cool place.
You had to come to Bethalto. Yeah, I love Bethalto, and I think we were just talking about this when you first came in. Is that a lot of cool things happen in Bethalto, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had somebody well, maybe I shouldn't tell that story, but they made kind of a nasty comment about coming from a small town. I always got the jokes, in corporate America about,
Mhm.
corn, growing
Yeah.
corn, or, what are you going to do, Melissa? Buy the town of Bethalto, or, whatever. But I was like, a lot of cool stuff. We don't have fires here, forest fires, and we don't have like, I want to say tornadoes, but I don't know, but hurricanes and everything. I mean, this is like Switzerland, it's just very nice.
Switzerland.
Yeah, Bethalto's awesome. We have some, we have Roma's. We have Roma's pizza here in
You do have
Bethalto.
Roma's.
I mean, nobody has pizza like Roma's.
Roma's is amazing.
Yeah, Frank, you can pay me later for that. But and Roma's is not a sponsor yet of this podcast. But yeah, no. So I think that we have a lot of fun stuff. I think, I came from humble beginnings too. Like I didn't come from money. I don't know, maybe you came from money. But I did not. And I always say that I got my bucket out when it rained. And I thought everyone did that. But we just couldn't afford to fix the roof. But you know what? Like, that's why I want to tell I help tell my story so that other kids can know that just because you didn't go to some Ivy League college or you didn't come from money, that you can still do what you want to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And look at you. Like you came from a small town and you have a gold record, and which I'm going to save that picture for later, but that picture is like super awesome.
Yeah, I'm really, really proud of the gold record. It's pretty humbling to have that, and it's actually, looking back on it, the more I look back on it, it's pretty amazing that it did happen, because I started out. Well, I didn't start writing songs or playing guitar or singing until I was 20, because I grew up in a big family, and we did sports, and we didn't do music. And if I mentioned, hey, I think I'm going to get a guitar, it was like, no, we're Browns. We do sports around here. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's kind of silly to think about that. But then I kept thinking about it. And then finally, when I was in college, when I went to Lewis and Clark, I got cut from the baseball team. And then I was going to school 3 days a week. And I had nothing to do. I had all this free time. And that's about the time Garth came out. And when his music came out, Clint Black's was right before his. And I just got the bug, and I couldn't stand it any longer. So I went out and got a job at the Pasta House.
At the
Saved my money.
Pasta House, huh?
Yeah, I was a waiter there.
Okay.
And saved up $225 and bought my first guitar. So
$225.
Yeah. So
wow.
And back
what
then,
kind of guitar do you get for that?
Not a great one.
Yeah, I once had a
It stayed tuned. I mean, it stayed tuned, but that's about it.
Here's the bad story. I once had an ex-boyfriend who I spent $6,000 on a Hummingbird guitar. Like I'm not proud of that. Somehow I was talked into that. I went in like, hey, how about like I got some money, and so I was like, let's celebrate. I'll buy you a guitar. So we go to Nashville. And I said, any guitar you want, Well, he picks out this $1,500 guitar, and then by the time we're paying for it, the guy at the counter was like, well, if my girlfriend was paying for a guitar, I'd be getting one of these. And like all of a sudden, I didn't know there was a $6,000 Hummingbird. That's another story. That's one of my bad moments. But anyway, $225. You're working at the Pasta House, and now you're going to start songwriting, or?
Well, that was before Google. And so I went to the library, and I was looking for books on how to write songs. I found a couple, and then I found a lady, Judy McGill, who worked at Roxana, and she was a vocalist, and she taught voice lessons. So I was taking voice lessons. I was reading books on how to write songs and put them together.
What's voice lessons like? I mean,
there's a lot more to it than you think there is, or that I thought there was.
Can you get really good? Like, can I sound like Madonna or something if I take voice lessons?
I don't know. I think some people are very gifted. And I was not just like born gifted with a voice. I just wanted to learn how to sing. So anybody can learn how to sing. And get better. Yeah, okay. It is a learnable skill, but some people are just amazing at it.
Yeah.
So I had to work really hard to get to the point where, I don't consider myself an artist, but I'm a singer songwriter, and I'm more of like a stylist voice. And I can get a song across to where, if I'm trying to get my song to the big guys, they can, it's in tune, and they can hear what I'm trying to go for. And then I had friends who played guitar, and I just had them show me chords, and I took guitar lessons for a while, but they were having me play like individual notes, and
Mm-hmm.
Mary Had a Little Lamb, and I was just like, no, I want to sing Garth Brooks. I want to know these chords.
Yeah. Did you get
So
one of those guitar buddies?
no, no,
I think
I saw that.
I bought Andy one of those.
I have
see if
mixed
he-
feelings about that. I hope they do well. I hope they do a good, have a
I
good
just think
business.
if
Just
like
learn to play.
if I did that, I would get it on there, and then they're like red, blue, and green. It's like Guitar Hero, and then it's like, what if you got really good at that? And then I'm like, don't take my guitar buddy away.
Guitar buddy. Yeah, I've been seeing that lately.
Yeah.
Just suck for about 6 months and learn how to play for real.
Well, yeah, and it's the calluses. I mean, I asked Tommy Carlos when he was on the podcast. I said, Tommy, how is there some secret? He's like, no, you have to build calluses, and I'm like, so you have to do the hard work. Jeez, can you put like glue or something like that on your fingers to make it better?
I've heard you can put fingernail polish on it, but I've never done that.
Okay.
I can tell when I haven't played for a while, so if I'm playing, it's a little bit painful. But so that means
You
I need
just
to get back on it and
pain right through it.
pain through it until you get the calluses back.
Okay. And if you don't have calluses, maybe you're not been practicing enough.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had voice lessons, and do you feel like that really helped and you got even better? Or?
It helped a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I didn't even know what singing was. I was just, when you sing in the car or the shower, I didn't know that when your voice came out, each word had to have a note.
Okay.
Yeah, I was that green.
Yeah,
so.
I have no idea about songwriting, voice lessons. I probably should take some, but I don't know. Andy wants to take voice lessons.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has a pretty good voice. I think he could definitely like sing in church. And if I've got some reverb or something, I mean, I love to get out karaoke and sing. But so yeah, so you took voice lessons, and then when did you start saying, you know what, I want to start writing songs and I'm gonna give it a go?
Well, I'm going to back up again, if you don't mind. I grew up in a house that was there was just all kinds of music going on. There was, Kiss, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, a lot of Elvis, and just country, Tom T. Hall, all the good stuff, into all kinds of different genres. So I just always loved music, and I knew from an early age that I wanted to. I didn't want to just listen to it and have that feeling of what it makes me feel like. I wanted to have that. I wanted to do that to make other people feel that way. So I would go downstairs, and we had a pretty lively household. We had 7 people in the house, and
oh my gosh,
crazy.
I
have 5 kids.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and so it got a little crazy and loud, and so I would go escape in the basement, and I would just listen to the radio, and I'm banging my guitar on your hole here. So
it's okay.
What was I talking about? Oh, the basement.
Yeah,
so I would just go down there, and I would just get immersed with it. And so then I always had those thoughts, like, I want to write songs, and I want to play guitar and be a singer and all that. And then I always just pushed it down because we just didn't do that. I didn't have anybody in the family that did that. So I did have an aunt, Anita, who played the organ, and but that was about it. So anyway, I was in basketball, baseball, football, and very blessed to be in the whole Roxana machine when we were doing real well. And there was so many teams before us that did so well that paved it for us. And then actually even after us, there were some great teams. But when I got to college, I still wanted to do the music. It just wouldn't leave me alone. And so I went out for the baseball team. I walked on. I actually didn't even know if I wanted to go to college because I wanted to write songs. And people kept telling me to be a teacher. You should be a teacher. You're good with kids. I was always like the chosen like babysitter and stuff. So I thought, okay, well, I guess I'll be a teacher. So, but I still had the music thing going. So I went out for the baseball team because I thought that was just like the next logical thing, but I didn't really prepare. I didn't lift or practice. So, and it's kind of funny looking back because I was surprised and I was devastated that I got cut from the team.
Cut from which team? The football?
The baseball team.
Baseball team. Okay.
Lewis and Clark. So yeah, in the fall I went out for the team and didn't see my name on the list outside of coaches.
Totally sucks when that happens. Doesn't it
sucked, but I didn't deserve it because I didn't prepare.
Okay.
I kind of half-heartedly. Words are difficult sometimes, but I just I wasn't on there, so I kept going through the list, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I was always a starter. I was never like, first team all conference, but I was always a starter and a good part of the team, baseball, basketball, football. But so to go from 3 sports to practice and a game, something every day after school, to nothing, to just going to college 3 days a week, I didn't know what to do. And that's when it kind of all came to a head, and I just had to go do something about it, about the music, because there was the opening.
So what did you do about it?
That's when I went and got the job. Well, I kind of just wanted to do it and kept talking about wanting to do it. And then Garth's Much Too Young to Feel This Damn Old came on the radio, and just, I couldn't take it anymore. So I had to go get a guitar.
That was the song that did it for you?
A lot of songs up until then, but that's the one that pushed me over the edge. Yeah.
And so, okay, so is that when you started thinking about writing songs, or you wanted to perform songs? Because there was a time when I know that you were going to make it as an artist. You wanted to do the artist thing, and do you still want to be an artist? Because I was a little confused with Tommy. He was like, "No, I don't want to be an artist." I'm like, "But you kind of are an artist." And then he's like, he's kind of a big deal, and he's like, "Well, I just want to write songs for people and make the be nice to and let the world, I don't know what I'm saying."
I wanted to be everything at first. I wanted to be the singer, artist, songwriter. I wanted to be everything, but I'm definitely leaning towards, I love releasing my own songs and putting them out and stuff, but I don't want to travel the country and be away from my family, because that's what I love about songwriting, is I can be home and I can go out in the garage, and every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday I'm out there at 7:30, except for tonight, because this is normally a Song Shack night, but so this worked out for me. But I like doing that, and I like making my trips to Nashville in the summer, which teaching really helps me get down there, and it's just nice to be the writer.
Right.
I'm always trying to get my songs to the big artists, and and just in case they don't record them, I like to record them on my own.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that, though, because when you start getting into singing and everything, everybody thinks that you just want to go and be, Luke Bryan or something, but they don't realize like that you are away from your family, and like how, and then there's this image you have to portray, and it just seems, I think being on the road would suck, actually. Like, maybe it's cool to be famous and everything, but I think at the end of the day, like, don't you think Luke Bryan's like, when he's finished, he's just like, I just want to, I don't know, go watch some Netflix and people leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I would guess. Yeah, it doesn't look like something that I would want to do. I think it's probably a young person's.
Yeah.
But some people are just born for it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Or some people think that they're going to be stars and they're really like way off. But that's another person that we won't talk about on this podcast. Okay, so here's a picture of you. I know that let's see, how old were you when you decided to just pack it all up and go to Nashville?
I was 30.
Oh, you were 30. Okay, so are we missing something between starting to write songs and starting to pack it up and go to Nashville?
Well, when I started when I was 20, and so I started writing, singing. I went down and did a couple CDs, a couple cassettes. If you guys have heard of those before.
Yeah, I have this over here. I'm going to pull this out again.
And then finally,
talk about that.
I see it.
And I have this too. So, and I had to go through a lot of like 80s stuff to find that. But
so anyway, when I turned 30, I just basically was feeling like if I don't go now, I'm never going to go, because I was still single and hadn't planted roots back home yet. And I thought it was time to do it. So I looked for a job, and the first place I applied to, they called me, and they were nice enough to interview me on a Saturday. I went down there, and I could see the Nashville skylight from the front like walkway, and I thought this would be really cool. And
so that was at 30? Or
30.
Okay, 30 years old. So this is a picture. Okay, so I have a picture here of you. It looks like a U-Haul and a pickup truck.
Oh my gosh.
That looks
Tommy's in there.
That looks like a country song in itself.
Yeah, that's a country song. In fact, that's the house that I wrote down the idea for What I Wouldn't Give.
Really? Okay, so we got to get to that.
Okay.
And I don't know if we should go into that right now.
Let's go into it.
Okay. So I need to know the real scoop on this. What I Wouldn't Give. So this is What I Wouldn't Give, and it's written by Charlie and by Tommy Carlos and by
Charlie
Charlie
Steffel.
Steffel. Yeah. So you gave this to me and Steve, and I used to drive in my white Trailblazer listening to this. Like, I'm not kidding. Like every single night, I just loved that song, and I knew that it was going to be, a hit. But I actually think that you and Tommy sing it better than Blake Shelton. But when I would listen to the lyrics of this song, I would think like, what really happened? And so I asked Tommy, and I don't think I got the truth. Like, I'm like, I feel like there's this like really deep, like sad, romantic breakup story, or like getting, I'm like, and he didn't, I don't know if he really gave me the real scoop.
I think he did, but he just didn't dig deep into it.
Okay, what happened?
I can
Tell
you
me the
my
real
side of it.
Okay, I
My
want your
side of
side.
it, if you
Let's pull that picture back up.
pop that picture up.
Okay.
Tommy and I lived together for a year in this place, and that was the moment I moved from that house to Nashville, obviously, because there's the U-Haul, and my friend Clay is there with the little U-Haul. And our mailbox was across the street, so you had to be really careful going across the street there on 140. And I was getting ready to go across, and this car zoomed by.
That's off of 140?
Yes.
Okay.
And this car zoomed by, and Tommy said, "Wow, what I wouldn't give to have that thing." It was like a really cool car. I don't know what it was. I don't know my cars, but it was red and awesome looking.
Okay.
So I just started thinking. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of a good title." So I went inside and I wrote in my hook book, I wrote what I wouldn't give to have her back. And then in parentheses, I wrote, and the reason why she's not here is because of what I wouldn't give my whole heart. And I just closed the book and then forgot about it because it was just with like my journal and all that good stuff. And then a year later, when I was living in Nashville, Tommy came down and had a writing appointment with Charlie Steffel. And I threw out that idea. And Tommy started humming, which is funny. I don't even know if he knows that he's the one that like spit it out. And then I took it and then wrote it with him later. It's kind of cool how it happened like that. So anyway, so he starts humming around on a melody. Charlie loved it. And Tommy had gone through a breakup that was that helped write this song.
That's what we want to hear about, the
emotion
juicy
was there.
stuff. Yeah, because he didn't share that. I don't
know if I know Juice, but I know that he was he was still struggling with things like that.
Okay.
And Charlie was in the middle of a breakup, and he was tore up. And so I feel a little guilty because I was not. So I just thought of like a hooky title, and I loved how it paid off 2 times.
Yeah.
And I've had enough breakups in my past where I just had to draw from whichever one I wanted to kind of get the emotions in there. And so they were like writing from a raw place, and I was writing from a memory place on that.
Yeah.
And here's another strange thing is I had been in Nashville for a while, and we'd had a couple close calls with songs, different songs that Tommy and I had wrote, and Charlie. And I wasn't ready for Nashville because I was like, I'm going to Nashville. I've written 12 songs, and who are the lucky people I'm going to record my songs? When I got there, nobody liked my songs. And so
Get out. How could anyone not like your songs?
Oh, well, I was just like piecing songs together. I knew what a chorus was and a verse, and I kind of knew how to put together a song, but to start writing to dig deep and to get the good stuff, I just wasn't there yet. I was still learning, and I still am, and I always will. But anyway, so I wasn't getting anywhere. So after we finished this song, we had this tradition. Tommy and I were, we had a cassette back then. We had the little handhelds that we recorded on, and we'd listen to it on the way home. And before I took off and rewound the tape, he goes, "We just wrote a hit song." And I was like, "I hope so." And he kind of got irritated with me. He's like, "What are you talking about? Don't you love this?" I was like, "I like it. And it's a good song."
Yeah.
And but at that point I was starting to get a little jaded because these publishers were like, "This is pretty good." And I'm like, "And you want to keep a copy of it?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Okay." And they're like, "Ooh, this is close." They'd be like, "This is close." I'm like, okay, what's going to make this closer? Well, that's second verse, and you pick the second verse and bring it back. And I just couldn't get a song to. I couldn't get the publishers really excited. So I was a little bit like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then and it bothered Tommy. So we listened to it, and I liked it. And I was like, it's a good song. And he just couldn't believe that I didn't think it was a hit. And then because I don't know, I guess I was starting to get jaded. And
well, it's easy to do. I think it probably.
Well,
Nashville.
Yeah, and I wasn't ready for the heartbreak down there with people saying they're going to record your song and then they don't, and then
right.
You call back home and they're recording it today, and then they changed their mind. They want a different song, so they just kind of kicked it out in the middle of the studio. But wow, all these people in Nashville, that happens to them all the time. So it's sure. It's part of the deal. But I just had no idea that stuff happened.
Yeah.
So Tommy and Charlie and I recorded a demo, and even when in the studio, I was thinking, okay, this is a good song. I like this song, but I wasn't like Tommy was. Tommy was head over heels for this song. And then I had to leave early from the studio, and then he dropped off a copy. So I wasn't there when he sang it. I wasn't there when they mixed it, did the harmonies or anything. And so I got home from work the next day because I was teaching down in Nashville. And he just propped a CD up on my apartment door. So I went inside and I put it in and I played it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a great song.
Really?
That's when I got it. I just didn't get it. I couldn't hear it through just acoustic and on a cassette tape.
You had to hear it fully recorded.
Full demo and Tommy had the production in his head from the get-go. So
wow. That's the story, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I love the lyrics. I think it's such a great, it's such a sad but really cool song. Thank you. I'm going to pull up the picture here because, this is the coolest picture ever. Here you are with your gold record.
Oh, yeah. Corey Wallace took that picture.
That is like an awesome picture. So what were you thinking when you got that?
It was just, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I thought it was going to be more than it was. I mean, like when you reach a goal and something cool happens, I'm very grateful for it and very excited about it. But, it just makes you go, okay, let's see what we can do. I didn't want to just like sit around and rest on it too long and celebrate too long, which is kind of funny that I just said that because after that happened, that's when I moved back home.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. When Tommy was on this podcast, he was on my first podcast, and I asked him before we ever started doing the interview, he said, well, what songs do you want me to sing? And I said, you can sing whatever you want. And he said, okay. I said, but, I guess my favorite is What I Wouldn't Give. And he said, oh, well, just how about not that one? Okay. He goes, Charlie always sings that one. And I said, oh, okay. I mean, that's fine. I said, sing whatever you want to sing, sing one for the veterans or whatever. And then when we got in here, I was, talking about the song and everything. And I was like, oh, hey, why don't you sing us that song, What I Wouldn't Give? And he goes, you want me to sing What I Wouldn't Give, right? And I go, yeah. And he goes, that one. And I go, yeah. And then it hits me like, oh crap, that's the one I'm not supposed to tell him to sing. But I do want you to sing it. So would you mind singing it for us?
I don't mind at all.
Okay.
But Tommy sings the heck out of this song. So I don't know why. Yeah, he sings great. He's the one.
He did sound awesome. Yes, he did sound awesome. Let's hear your.
Let me know if you can hear my guitar.
Okay. Here's Charlie Brown, What I Wouldn't Give.
Leave the radio on just to hear a voice other than mine. 'Cause I can't bear to hear the cold truth running through my mind. Everything I did wrong just keeps haunting me. It won't let me be. And lying here without you, girl, I'm starting to see why you gave up on me. What I wouldn't give just to go back when you were in my life. I'd do it right this time. What I didn't do is give my whole heart to you. And that's why you're gone. I know I was wrong, and I'll never hold you again, 'cause of what I wouldn't give. You want me to do the second verse?
Sure. I love it.
Second verse, same as the first. Kills me to think how much you try to make things work. I wouldn't listen to you. All I would do is put myself first. Took you for granted. I pushed you away a little more each day. Somewhere inside this hell, I have seen my mistakes, but now it's too late. What I wouldn't give just to go back when you were in my life. Do it right this time. What I didn't do, give my whole heart to you. And that's why you're gone. I know I was wrong, and I'll never hold you again, 'cause of what I wouldn't give. 'Cause of what I wouldn't give. Wow, thank you guys.
That's your fans out there.
Sound like 20, 25 of them. That's good.
Yeah. So
Yeah, thank
You know-
you, Blake Shelton. God bless Blake Shelton. And I want to say one more thing. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no,
Lila McCann also recorded this song, and I don't know if you've heard that version.
I did. I listened to it.
And she is she's my favorite country vocalist. And long story short, I've always wanted to get a song on her record. And even though her record didn't come out, she did record the song and invited us into the studio to hear it. And it was just so cool. So I'm just as proud as the Lila McCann What I Wouldn't Give cut as I did, or as I am the Blake Shelton.
Yeah,
so,
and that's on your website too, right?
yes,
Of her
it is.
singing her version. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you get to meet Blake Shelton after all this? So you write this, gold record for him. Did you get to meet him?
I did. I
So
kind of
What was that like?
I kind of weaseled my way in there.
You had to
after-
weasel your way?
A
I mean,
little
you
bit.
think that Blake Shelton would be like,
Well, he wasn't like calling me up and thanking me for the song or anything.
Really?
But after he recorded it, Tommy and I went to Walmart. He told you the debit or credit story. I'm not gonna go there.
yeah, but maybe you should tell, because the people that watch Tommy's might not have watched there might be different viewers. So
okay,
let's hear the story on your version of the
All right.
story.
So after Blake Shelton was going to record the song after Lone Star had it on hold. I feel like I'm name dropping, but that's all right. Lone Star had it on hold, Clay Walker, and then Gary Allen, and these people were like giving us maybes and stuff. And then there was just like dead silence for about 7 years after we wrote it. So the song didn't get recorded until 7 years after the demo.
Wow, that's a long time.
So finally, I was just like, man, nobody's recording this song. What am I going to do? So I took a songwriting workshop at Major Bob Music Publishing. That's Garth's manager's son. And so I wanted the little Garth connection anyway. So I played the song for them, and they had like a hit songwriter special guest and played the song around for the panel.
You also met Garth Brooks here.
I met Garth twice.
Okay, here's a picture of you with
Oh yeah,
Garth Brooks.
That's at the
You look
Fox
like you're
Theater.
like
I look like I'm
16
13.
there.
Wow.
That is a pretty cool picture though.
No scruff for me on that one. So where was I? Blake Shelton.
Yeah. So
Anyway, so I played the song. The hit songwriter said the first verse needed some work. It wasn't right, or something was going on with it. So I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna go fix the first verse and see if Charlie and Tommy are okay with that. But before I got to do that, Mike Doyle emailed me and asked me if he got it cut, if I would split his publishing with him and piece of the pie, basically, for helping me out. And he said he had Rascal Flatts in mind, but they didn't either. They didn't get it, or they passed on it. And then ended up Blake Shelton was going to record it. So we're all excited, and after a bunch of maybes and things are starting to pick up with it. So the day he was supposed to record our song, I think the producer had to adopt a baby or something from out of the country.
Okay.
So it was hard to be mad. I was just disappointed that the song wasn't getting recorded, but I was like, okay, go ahead. And then when he came back, they had to change producers, and so the new producer had to like the songs. Long story short, on my birthday in 2007, it came out, and Tommy and I.
On your birthday?
On my birthday.
Was that planned?
No.
That is crazy.
It was not planned.
Like your hit song comes out on your birthday.
It came out on my birthday.
That's a sign from God for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so your song comes out, you're excited.
And so we go to Walmart.
At Walmart and where? Wood River?
Nashville.
Nashville. You're in Nashville. What am I thinking?
Nashville
okay.
This time. So I had to get up extra early because I was teaching inner city kids, and so I had to get there really early. We found the CD. I actually went to a Walmart that didn't have it. They didn't have them out yet because it was 6 a.m. So we went to another one that did have it, and so I just picked it up off the shelf, and I looked on the back and said, "What I wouldn't give." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I think this might be happening," but I still didn't believe it. So I had to unwrap it right there in the aisle and see my name in microscopic print. I'm like, "Okay, my name's on there. Tommy, your name's on there." So Tommy was standing there next to me and going through to check it, to get checked out and to pay for it, and I was just like grinning and I couldn't believe it was happening, and I still didn't believe it was happening. But the lady that was like ringing me up, I was just like, song number 8 on there. I was like, I wrote that song, and she just looked at me and goes, debit or credit. And so we started.
So sad.
So he was not excited, but I was.
Gosh.
So anyway, so after
Did you laugh?
Oh yeah, started cracking up, and then she got more grouchy with me. But anyway, so Tommy and I put that disc in, and I got to hear it 2 or 3 times before I got to work that day. Couldn't believe it.
So what about the first time that you heard it on the radio? Where were you?
I have not heard What I Wouldn't Give on the radio, like a radio station, but it's been on like Spotify and things like that. So
okay.
But I haven't had like a regular, like a Tommy had that moment with Roll With Me, where
right.
he was driving down the road and it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So but it was cool. I mean, I could just, Blake Shelton singing the words that we wrote and the melody, and it's just that we created out of thin air,
right.
Of course.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy that some of these artists, like, that you don't just meet them. Like, you write this #1 song for them, and then, like Will Nance wrote She's Everything for Brad Paisley, and then I don't even know if he's met him still. Like,
I don't know. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's what I was talking about. Meeting Blake Shelton. So
yeah, let's get back
on my other story. You guys hang on tight. So after that happened, and I was dead set that this is happening because I was listening to the song. I have a friend who lives in Denver, and Blake Shelton's gonna be playing at the Grizzly Rose.
Yeah.
My friend's name's Dan Shibler. He's a good friend of mine. We write songs too. So I flew out and stayed with him. We went to the Grizzly Rose, and I was hoping he would play What I Wouldn't Give, and he got on a stool and he like did the old acoustic thing. And I was like, please play this song, but he did not. But before the show was over, I went to the merchandise guy and I was like, hey, is there any way, I could talk to Blake Shelton for just like 1 minute? And he goes, no, that's not going to happen. And I said, I just wanted to thank him for writing or for recording one of my songs. He's like, you did? I said, yeah. He said, what's your name? I said, Charlie Brown. And he looked at me, he's like,
No, no, it's
I
not.
go, I'm serious. And then suddenly he had to look it up because he thought I was just being a smartass. And so, and he goes, okay, hold on a second. And he said, just hang out after the show for a little bit. So Dan and I hung out, and they were putting the bar stools up on the tables, and it was getting late. Like, it was, lights were on and they were sweeping up, and it was like not many people in there. And finally the manager came out and waved me over. We walked across the dance floor, and Blake was leaning against the bus out there. They were all packed up, ready to go, and he was leaning against the bus. And he goes, hey, he's like, hey, Charlie, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, he said, shoot, dude, I love that song. I can't talk like
Wow.
a country guy, but he's like, shoot, dude, I love that song. And I shook his hand. And I said, don't be afraid to put that thing on the radio. And he's like, I won't. And then by about that time, his manager came and kind of tapped him and said, we got to get out of here, because they had another place to get to for the next day. And I didn't even think to do like a picture, which I'm actually glad I didn't, because people are like so selfie happy these days. And I just have the memory in my head.
Well, that's sweet though, that
Yeah.
you remember the moment instead of
Oh,
thinking
totally.
about getting your camera out or whatever.
Yeah.
I just think it's really crazy though that the artists don't, want to, that they don't just meet the people who are writing the songs. I mean, there's so much creativity. All the talent is like writing the song, coming up with the melody and all of that. And then, some artist sings it and then it's like they don't even know who wrote the song.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm sure there are some artists out there that lean more toward, I want to make sure I know these people kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are songwriters who start to write just for that artist, right?
Mhm.
Like Luke Bryan maybe has some, a couple that he uses all the time. I know like
Yeah.
Chris Stefano writes for Carrie Underwood, and Brett James writes for her a lot, and
Yeah.
so I guess what they get you kind of get used to playing off one another and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But and you also, so when did you meet Charlie Steffel?
Charlie Stuffle,
That's a picture of you and
that
him.
was what a huge blessing to meet him. That was right before I moved to Nashville. I was commuting, going back and forth, and trying to figure out, how to write songs and how to meet people and this and that. And at the Bluebird Cafe, there was a Garth night. Garth wasn't there, but it was all the writers who wrote his hits. And I was like, oh, I got to go listen to all those. There was like Pat Alger was there, Tony Arata, Charlie Stuffle, which I didn't recognize him because
And
he
that's so tell the listeners who he is. And there is a picture with Tommy Carlos too.
Charlie is just the most wonderful human being in the world. If you're in the music business, I hope everybody gets to meet a Charlie Stuffle. But he's so talented. He wrote The Visit for Chad Brock and George Jones. He wrote The Fool for Leanne Womack. He's got just 100 bluegrass cuts. He wrote What I Wouldn't Give with us, and I know I'm missing a whole bunch. He's just got a ton of cuts, and he's just so talented, and he's so intelligent. And he's also a teacher as well.
Wow. Okay.
He's a retired teacher now. I think he's 72, still writing songs, still getting cuts. He's amazing. So anyway, I'm at the Bluebird Cafe waiting in line. I'm down there all by myself, and I just wasn't going to miss this show. And I'm just standing next to Charlie, and I had no idea. And I said, hey, what's going on? I'm just waiting here. Yeah, here for the Groff show. He's like, yeah, me too. And I'm like, you write songs? He's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, I'm just so green, and I'm just like so awkward. And I'm just like, well, have you had any luck? He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm having some luck. And right at the moment that I asked him that, The Fool for Leanne Womack was number one on the charts.
That's funny.
He had the number one song in country radio. And I'm like, you write songs? And so he asked me if I wrote songs, and I said, yes, I do. And I told him I was taking songwriting lessons from a few different people. And he's like, you don't need to take songwriting lessons. He's like, you quit paying those people. He said, you send me your songs, I'll give you free advice, free critiques. So I would, every time I wrote a song, and it was probably with Tommy back then, we were co-writing all the time back then, I would just send Charlie a cassette, and he would listen to it, and he would turn the cassette over and rewind it, and he would just start talking like, hey, your first verse needs this and that. And
I thought I had my phone off. Sorry.
That's okay. Phone's in my guitar case, so hopefully.
So Andy just interrupted your story, but I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's all right.
So
Andy.
Charlie Stuffle, he's giving you feedback on your
yeah, long story
songwriting.
short, he's mailing me back. I sent him stamped envelopes, and he's just mailing it back, and he's just doing this for free. I go and I said, "Would you write a song with me?" This was probably a couple months later, after a couple critiques or whatever. He said, "Yeah, come on down." And so I go down to Nashville, and I was going to get a hotel, and he said, "You're not getting a hotel." No, he said, "No, I did get a hotel, but I said I'm going to go. I'll write on this day, and I'll go get some food and take a nap and come back." He's like, "No, we'll just write all day." We wrote nonstop for 2 days. And the hotel was just a couple miles away, and he would not let me pay for any food whatsoever. He took me out to lunch and dinner. So he bought me 4 meals. I just met him, wrote songs with him. Some of those songs are on my older albums, and just like, what a huge blessing.
What a great guy. And, I think it's nice that people want to pay it forward, and like, I've met some people even just starting a podcast. They're like, you know what, I'll teach you everything I know about podcast, or whatever. It's just, and I feel like that with, women in business, like if there's something I can do to help somebody else, then, but what a great guy. He had all these hits, and what a great songwriter. And then to just want to help you for free.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there are a lot of people in Nashville that are the opposite of Charlie too, that you have to kind of wade through and get through. But
I know some of those too. Now, let's go back to your old music, because you have this song. Well, first of all, I'm going to pull this picture up. This was Cheyenne. I had this cassette. Okay, this said to Jake. I think you sent me this picture, but I actually have this cassette, and I think you wrote to Missy on it, but I can't find it right this second.
Okay.
But I know I have it, and I have that like 8x10 picture of you that you signed to.
Oh my gosh.
I kept all of it. You never know. I might be going for lots of money right now. No, I'm just kidding. I would never sell it.
I saw one at a yard sale a couple of years ago, and it was on sale for a quarter.
Really? A quarter?
Yeah.
What, did you say anything?
No, I didn't even buy it.
Was this in Basalto?
I think it was South Roxana.
In South Roxana, they were selling your stuff for a quarter.
Yeah, I didn't even buy it.
So. I'm not even going to make a Roxana joke about that. I want to also correct myself, because I think the reason I made, comments about Roxana, because they actually did have some really good cheerleaders. I mean, they could all do like back handsprings and crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were really
was a
good.
cheerleader.
Yeah, I will give them that. They were good with that. So
thank you so much.
So this other album that you had here, Shenandoah Summer.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Sharon? You signed up for Sharon, maybe?
Oh,
so you had the cowboy hat on in this. Okay, so Andy has a cowboy hat that he had to wear in this wedding. It's ridiculous. And he wanted to wear it tonight to the hunting show. I'm like, please do not wear that. I'm like,
oh, really? Why not?
Oh my gosh, it did not look like that. Charlie, like, that looks pretty cool. I mean, you're a country singer.
That's when I was trying to be Garth Brooks,
Oh, so. Okay. You were doing that.
I even like sang with twang, and it took me 5 years to get rid of my fake twang when I was singing.
You tried to sing with the twang?
Yeah, I wanted to be just like him.
Huh.
Totally.
Well, why don't do you have any good songs from your 5 albums that you released that you could sing us another song? Or what do you want to sing us? You don't have to sing it from your old stuff.
I'll sing, what do you want to hear?
I don't know. Surprise me.
I will play you. How about the song, the last song I just finished?
Okay. Awesome.
This is a song I just wrote, I guess when I just got back from Nashville, so probably a week ago.
Okay. Let's hear it. What's it called?
It's called Jealous of Elvis.
Jealous of Elvis? I love Elvis. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I do too.
Here we go.
I've spent a long time trying to find the right words to write a song for my mom. And the song is about my mom.
Oh, that's sweet. All right.
It's honest. And I have a string out of tune. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
I think I remember all the words and the chords. Here we go. Jealous of Elvis. That baseball must have had wings. Little League Roy I still have one string out of tune. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. This is real. This is real country stuff that's happening right now. This is what happens. You got to tune your stuff.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do this. That baseball must have had wings. Little League glory hitting my first home. We were dancing all around the field. Crowd going crazy, coach put me on his shoulders. I was waving my hands, scanning the stands. But my most important fan stayed home, sitting alone, wrapped up in those songs, whiskey, and the king of rock and roll. She always said, staring at the TV, said, have you ever seen a more beautiful boy? Have you ever heard a more beautiful voice? Maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm selfish, maybe I don't care, I can't help it. I'm jealous of Elvis. I remember the day he died. She was falling apart, no way to console her. I remember the way that she cried. She was hurting so bad, I never even told her. Kellyanne King gave me back my ring, told me that she didn't love me. I was dying inside, but I had to hide how I needed my mama to hug me. She always said, staring at the TV, said, have you ever seen a more beautiful boy? Have you ever heard such a beautiful voice? Maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm selfish, maybe I don't care, can't help it. I'm jealous of Elvis. The day that we laid her to rest, I had a hole in my chest. One day I'll see her again. Till then she's up there with him. She always said, staring at the TV, said, have you ever seen a more beautiful boy? Have you ever heard a more beautiful voice? Maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm selfish, maybe I don't care, can't help it. I'm jealous of Elvis.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a tearjerker.
Yep.
So, you going to talk about that?
Wow, I could talk about it for about an hour, but basically, my mom had a lot of mental issues early on, and so it was tough as a kid when you don't know about that stuff. So it was really rough growing up with her, and but we had, she loved us in her own way. She was always we always had clothes, we always had food. I know she loved us, but she just wasn't quite there. And so I've been writing and writing and writing, trying to find the right thing to say. And I didn't want to be mean in the song, but I wanted to be honest. And I wrote the first verse and the chorus before I went to my trip to Nashville. And then I had a writing appointment with Rob Crosby, and he helped me finish the song. And
Wow.
he was the perfect person to take it to because he's an incredible writer. He wrote Concrete Angel, Martina McBride, which is one of my favorite songs, and a million other songs that I could just list and list. But I didn't know, I knew it was really good. I knew it was strong, but I thought I was going to have to finish it on my own because I don't know if anybody would want to touch it. And he was just like, yeah, he's like, I'm in. And he wanted to finish it with me because he was like, this is real. He's like, I want to write a real song and this is real. So I said, all right, let's do it. And so the whole song, he was just like, okay, what do you want to say? What do you want to say? What do you want to say? So I just spilled it out, and that happened.
Yeah, I mean, that is super raw and you just being like super authentic and real. And I mean, a lot of people, I can imagine maybe it's a little therapeutic too.
Yeah.
But being super vulnerable, putting something like that out there.
Yeah. I kept saying to Rob, I was just like, I don't know, should we really put that? And he's like, you got to put that. That's the truth, right? And I said, yeah, it's the truth. He said, is this the truth? I said, yeah. And he said, you got to leave it. You got to leave it alone. I said, okay. So that song, I just recorded it. I just actually got the mix back today, and I'm probably going to. It's going to be like a lyric video. I'm going to throw it out on YouTube probably when I get home tonight. I'm going to throw it out. You'll get to hear it with tuned guitar. Actually, it's a piano vocal, but it'll be tuned instruments, and I won't be starting over and this and that. So thanks for hanging with me on that. And thanks for listening to it.
Thank you for playing that. That was really sweet. I mean, I'm it's a sad song for sure. I'm almost made me cry, but
Yeah.
But thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So
You're welcome.
We didn't really talk about your you've got a wife, you had a son later in life, right? He's like 9 or
he's
9?
going to be 9 Sunday. So
Okay.
yeah, so long story short, I had a bunch of relationships that were not the greatest at all. And I finally got my act together when I was 40. And
I'm trying to think of when I got my act together, like 4 years ago, maybe.
Really? Well,
like 49.
my act's not all the way together, but it was together enough. And,
Yeah.
And then I met Sarah, and that's when I was like, maybe I'm just the guy that's not going to get married, and too much baggage, too much stuff going on, and not have kids, and so.
Why did you think you had baggage? I mean, you don't really have baggage.
Oh, just I guess just baggage, just as in like bad relationships and.
Oh well, yeah, I have a lot of that. I have a lot of bad.
I was
baggage.
A mess. They were a mess. It was just easier to just like how many times do I have to?
I've been there.
Go through something like this.
Yeah.
So I met Sarah, and it was just we got married 364 days after we met, and we're married
364 days.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then a couple years of marriage, we decided to have a kid, and because we were both, we weren't old, but we weren't, we weren't getting any younger. So,
right.
So it's just a huge blessing. It's crazy. They're the best thing that's ever happened to me. My wife, my son. The songwriting is great, and I get to chase my dreams. I love that, but we really haven't talked about teaching much. And
yeah, let's talk about teaching, because I know you're a cooking teacher. Is that right?
Yeah, I teach kids how to cook.
Well, you should have teach me how to cook, because I don't want to. I don't even want to learn how to cook. I don't think, but
I could.
That's what the Locks Brick House is for.
Start with the basics, or just go to Locks.
Yeah. Another shout out to Locks. Ross, you owe me. This is sponsorship.
I do love their burgers.
Yeah, well, I get chicken every time. Chicken and broccoli every day. That's what I get. It's healthy.
How often do you go there?
Like, I'm serious. We probably go there every other day. I'm not kidding. That's where Andy is like credit card, Locks Brick House. We're paying the rent at Locks Brick House. That's for awesome. Sure. Yeah. I mean, giving back to the local community.
Yeah, buy local.
Yeah. But no, so you're a cooking teacher, and you're a high school teacher. So tell me a little bit. Yeah, we didn't talk about teaching.
When I graduated from SIU, I started teaching at East Alton. I applied at Roxana, but they didn't have any openings. So I was at East Alton for 6 years. So I've taught Oilers, Shells, and Eagles. But anyway, so after East Alton, I moved to Nashville.
But now you're an Eagles fan, right?
I am an Eagles fan, but once a Shell, always a Shell. So that's what out there.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, when Steve was from Roxana, and then I used to tease him because I'm like, yeah, but your kid's going to be playing Eagle football.
True.
So he had to become a Bethalto Eagles fan. So anyway.
But we're really all the same. We're all small town.
Sure.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It is.
Bunker Hill. So,
Yeah.
so then I came back to East Alton after Nashville. And then I went to Roxana. And in between all that, I've taught creative writing. I've taught fifth grade math, fifth grade self-contained. I even did creative writing. Eighth grade science. I was not a very good science teacher, but I had the teacher's manual, so that's always good. And then at Roxana, I was language arts, and then I went into the food,
Wow.
and then
How did you learn to how do you become a teacher and then start teaching cooking?
when I was going through college to become a teacher, I was working for my brother Bob, Chef Bob. And
Oh, your brother Bob is Chef Bob?
Chef Bob Brown, yeah.
I did not know that.
That's my big brother.
He has like a catering business, right?
He's
Okay.
retired now, but yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've
And
heard a lot
so
about him.
wherever he was working, which was like at Amelia's Airport restaurant, whatever it's called now. And then I would just follow him around and cook for him or be a bartender or wash dishes or whatever he needed. And so I had all these hours under my belt that qualified me to teach cooking. So,
Wow. Well, maybe I should have you teach me to cook or something
Yeah.
sometime. Cooking classes.
and I also
took
have-
one cooking class and I learned how to like roast vegetables, and it really did change my life. Like now I love vegetables. I eat them all the time. When I do cook, I eat vegetables. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kaylee got me a cooking certificate, so a gift card or whatever. Yeah, so Kaylee's a teacher too. She was until she had my grandbaby, and now she's home. But so you do cooking, and now you have these YouTube channels too. You have like a cooking YouTube channel, you have fishing, and what else?
I have a cooking channel. I actually created it for my students, but other
There's
people are
fishing.
kind of getting on there too. So that's cool. So whenever I get a new recipe, I throw it out there. I started doing it during COVID because I was teaching from home. So I was just making videos and stuff. So that's been fun. I've been throwing videos out there for cooking. And then that's Cooking with Coach Brown. And then I had, during the lockdown, I was just going stir crazy. So I started recording fishing videos. So I started fishing with Coach
videos.
Brown. And so,
okay, I did watch one, and I learned about a forget what it is, some sort of net.
netting, how to net a fish.
Maybe it was like you said, you have to get this. I forget what it was called. I told Andy about it, and like I knew, I remembered it at the time. It was this net that you get down there and get your fish.
How to use a dip net.
A dip net. Yeah.
Right.
So I used to fish with my grandpa when I was little. But here's your fishing YouTube, Fishing with Coach Brown. Now and here you are fishing and waving. That's really a nice picture, fall picture.
Yeah, I was young then.
You were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you don't think so?
Well, let me pull that back up and see.
Younger.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't have the scruff, the facial hair.
Yeah. My hair was brown.
Yeah. Okay. So then that you were young then. But you have you have the cooking show, and what are you teaching how to cook on the YouTube channel? Like easy stuff, like
everything's easy that I do for other people.
Like macaroni and cheese.
I don't know if that's on there. Like grilling's on there. Some of the recipes we do, homemade cinnamon rolls, that's on there. It's not as hard as people think it is. A lot of people are afraid of like using yeast because they think it's difficult, but it's really not. That's one of my favorite recipes on there. Like buffalo chicken legs, things like that. Cheesy chicken fireballs, which is a recipe that I made up. Yeah. So it's basics. It's easy. And with the fishing one, that's for the complete beginner too. Like, tying a knot, fishing for bluegill, simple things. And the fishing channel helped me. It kind of lend itself to like me interviewing like my songwriting friends. Like, Charlie Stuffle went fishing with me one time. That was fun. We just went fishing. It was not educational in the fishing area at all. I was just asking questions about George Jones, and he recorded a song, and Garth Brooks and all that stuff. It was just a good way to interview those guys.
So like a fishing podcast.
Those are like little.
That's what you should have.
Yeah. So it was just a good release during COVID. And so I didn't go crazy. I had to do some stuff to be creative.
Yeah. And then you also have some artwork. So it's called Eclectic Rust by Charlie Brown. So tell us about that.
That was another COVID thing. I started.
You were busy during COVID.
Yeah,
Were you wearing your mask?
At home, I was by myself, yes, in the bathroom. But And, anyway, I was definitely wearing my mask, and because they're important.
Okay. Yes, they're
And,
very important.
And anyway, so I went down the basement and I saw
Get your
a
vaccine.
bunch of rusty stuff. And yes, get your vaccine. And I just started making these big lures that obviously are not real lures, but and so I started like plastering like old leaves on them, like fall leaves and stuff like that. And so I just kind of ran with it. And then my brother Jack is a welder, so he made me these huge, like foot tall high, um, rusty hooks. Actually, they weren't rusty, and I rusted them with salt and vinegar and things like that. And I started making these big things, these big lures, and finally, the basement started getting filled up. So I thought I'm gonna have an art show, and it was a little scary at first because I didn't know if I was really an artist, but I had all this stuff, so I rented out the Klein Hall and had an art show and had some people out, and it was fun. It was fun to do a non-song creative thing.
Yeah.
Because usually if I get all these wild ideas, I tell myself no because I need to focus on songwriting. And then my wife, who's very good for me, and she said, why don't you just let yourself chase other creative things? I said, okay, I will.
That's
So
good advice.
I did.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I have a corporate job and I'm busy all day. I'm lead payer relations and government affairs for a ventilator company. And this podcast is like a creative outlet and I'm having fun with it, but I literally almost feel guilty for having fun. Like I'm just, because I don't really do that many things for fun, because I've always been working so much,
Mhm.
But that is true. I think that's
Good
good
for you.
advice from your wife, of just like, allowing yourself, and I also didn't have the time to do it. So it's like allowing yourself this time to be creative and do something different than like songwriting for you is your job. So, you having another outlet to do something else, and that's creative is also kind of fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you sell this artwork now? I mean, you had the show, but do you continue to sell pieces or?
I don't, only because they're gone. The pieces are gone.
You sold
I
them off.
sold most of them, and then there were a couple stragglers. Actually, I do. I have two left, but they're huge pieces. Like
Like big enough to put on this wall or something, like a big fish or something?
they would fit on that wall.
Okay.
Yeah. You
Okay.
actually, yeah, you should probably buy the biggest one that would fit up there.
Did you put like numbers on it? Like this is 3 of however many, 50 or that
I
you made?
started to do that, and then I lost track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and so did you give up art, or it's just something that you're out of things that you made?
I don't want to do it anytime soon, because it was so fun and I was so focused on it, and I just ran with it. And I've kind of just, I knew if I did something like that, I would miss songwriting. So as soon as I started missing songwriting too much, I just got back to it. It was really good for me to have a little departure from songwriting because now I'm just really into it. This song for my mom, popped out of me, and a few more songs. I've written 5 or 6 songs this summer. And a lot of those songs have been with my nephew. I don't know if you know Tanner Brown. He went to
Your nephew's Tanner Brown?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not
Chris,
know that.
Tanner, Ashley.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
And Ashley,
My
she
brother
passed
Jim
away.
and Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah, she was such a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was. Well, Tanner.
Okay. He was a football stud.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
And we've been writing for his record. He's coming out with his first record, which is we're going to record it a year. Well, actually, next summer we're going to record it. So we're
Really?
writing songs for that album, and we're up to about 9 songs, and we're going to write as many as we can, and hopefully end up with 12 and just kick out the ones that the weakest links, I guess. But he's
cool.
He's a great guitar player. He's a great singer, and a lot of people don't even know that he does. He's kind of a closet writer. And so when he comes out, I think people are going to be surprised, and we're really proud of the songs we're writing for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, so what's next for you?
Well, we're getting ready to start school on Monday.
You start school on Monday.
My 30th year in
Bethalto? Or where?
It'll be my 5th year in Bethalto, but my 30th consecutive year.
And what grade are you teaching?
Freshman through senior, culinary arts or foods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember I have a food story I'll have to tell you later after this podcast when I was in foods.
Well, go ahead and tell me now. It's
interesting. Well, this is really kind of mean, but we were all in foods, and this one girl, she was like, I don't think she was very like she wouldn't wash her hands and stuff, and then she started shredding cheese and stuff. And I remember one of my the students they were like, we're not using that. And we kind of threw the ingredients away because we were like, we're not eating that. It was not, that's my food story.
That wasn't mean at all.
Well, I just think it was mean that, she wasn't, I don't know, maybe she did wash her hands, but I don't think she probably did.
Well, she's mean if she didn't wash her hands. So
Yeah.
maybe she's the mean one.
Maybe she started COVID.
She
Who
did.
knows? I don't
She
know.
did. COVID off pepper jack cheese.
So what else do we need to talk about here? Do you want to sing another song? What do you want to do?
I'll do one more song. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do another song. And I also want to make sure everyone knows that you are opening up for Tommy Carlos at Hathaway Hall in Godfrey, Illinois at 6:00 on October 21st.
Yeah.
And Billy Hurst is also playing.
Yeah.
And he's another local celebrity that will never, I've asked him to play at my house like twice and he's turned me down, by the way. No, he was just busy.
Did he?
Yeah, he's busy. So
I'm going to text him.
But all right, let's hear another song from you, Charlie Brown.
Okay. I'm gonna hear something here real quick. It sounds tuned, yeah. I will sing something off of Roxanna, Tennessee, that album. Does that sound okay?
Okay. Yeah.
I wrote this is a song called Undone. And I wrote this song when my wife and I were dating. After about, I don't know, I guess 2 or 3 months, I came home. She lived in Blue Springs at the time, Missouri, so about 4 hours away. So on my drive home, I thought of this title. When I got home, I wrote half of this. Took it to Nashville and finished it. So this is for her. It's called Undone. Look what you've gone and undone. Life I built around not needing anyone. You unraveled my steel wound heart. You broke the old stone wall apart. You stole away my need to run. Look what you've gone and undone. Look what you've gone and undone. Took away all the pain where I came from. Every little thing you're doing is turning my old world to ruin, teaching me that I can trust someone. Look what you've gone and undone. Every time I look in my eyes, I get this feeling I'm letting go of this life, going it alone. Thought I had a plan, staying free as I can, only looking out for number one. Look what you've gone and undone. The damage that I tried to hide from everyone. Fix the broken man in me. Think of who I used to be. Can't believe how far I've come. Look what you've gone and undone. Every time you look in my eyes, get this feeling I'm letting go of this life, going it alone. Thought I had a plan, staying free as I can, only looking out for number one. Look what you've done and undone. Look what you've gone and undone. unraveled my steel-wound heart, unlocked a brand new start.
I love it.
You like that one?
Yeah, that's really good.
Thank you.
It's very catchy and it's very sweet.
Thank you.
So
I had to bring us back up from the Jealous of Elvis song.
right, that
And
was
What I Wouldn't
very,
Give.
that was 2 sad songs. Kaylee said, "Don't end it on a sad note." That's what my daughter Kaylee said.
Okay.
So,
Well, there's a positive note.
so it is a positive note, but let's, that was really sweet. You wrote that for your wife?
I did. Yeah. She's very cool. She's one of those people that's she has a Facebook page, but she doesn't post and she doesn't like things. She likes things, but she doesn't press like. And she's just not in the limelight. And she says she's boring, but she's not.
She's quiet.
She's super intelligent. She's an attorney.
Oh, wow.
She's witty. She's funny, but she's just a great wife and a great mom. And she takes care of the house, and she takes care of the bills, and she's very organized, and she's supportive of me. I mean, every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday night since we've been married, which is we're coming up on 12 years. I've been out in the garage from 7:30 at night until sometimes midnight. And in the summer, I take 2 weeks by myself to go to Nashville. Sometimes her and Eli will come visit me for a day or two, but she supports it. And of course, all this music stuff is costs money.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's awesome.
She's cool. I have a cool wife.
Yeah, it sounds like she's super successful. She's got all the money.
Yeah, I hope she's watching this because I'm really saying good things about her.
Right.
So.
And you wrote a sweet song. I mean, every woman loves that. I mean, I got hooked a couple of times with the whole song, having somebody write you a song.
Really?
Yeah, and it didn't turn out well. So
sorry about that.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, but that's how they get you. They're like, "Oh, let me write a song for you." "Oh, okay." No, but I got a good one too. I have a really good one. And he writes his own songs too. He should be
awesome.
He should be a songwriter, actually. He played Tommy Carlos in that seat before Tommy actually got here so we could try things out and everything for him. Yeah, ask him about
his husband writes songs.
He doesn't really write songs, but he sings all the time and he's always making up song lyrics. So, I mean, technically he probably is a songwriter.
Okay.
Like we took one of Tommy's songs, "Roll With Me," I think, and we put new lyrics to it. So that's a special treat for Tommy Carlos that I'm gonna one day I'm gonna get on Snapchat and record myself singing the song. So
is it called "Bowl with Me"?
No, but that's a good one. I'll have to look up the lyrics for you.
I can see a video in my head right now.
All right. Well, Charlie, you did tell them about your YouTube, but tell them again how they can find your music and find your art and your fishing shows and all of those things.
Well, my music website is charliebrownsongwriter.com. Don't go to Charlie Brown because it'll be the peanuts. So you go to charliebrownsongwriter.com, or you can go to the other Charlie Brown. It goes to the same spot. On YouTube for the music, it's Charlie Brown Songwriter. For the fishing channel, it's Fishing with Coach Brown and Cooking with Coach Brown if you want to learn some new recipes. And the art is gone, but I'll probably make some more in the future sometime. And I think that's it. I really appreciate you guys hanging with me, and thanks for having me on here. This is my very first time this has ever happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, this is I think this has been my most fun podcast.
Really?
Yeah, I honestly do, because I feel like it's I said my other ones, I feel like I was like a news anchor or something, like I was trying to make it too serious. And I told you, I said, make it fun, help me make it fun too, because help me relax. And you did. So I really appreciate that. Yeah. I think that it's, just like Kaylee said, this would be like talking to an old friend.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. But before we stop the podcast, I wanted to say, I saw this that you wrote. You said, when I asked you about your faith, you said, and I asked how it had played into your life. You said, I do my part with teaching music to be better than yesterday and let God unfold it the way it's supposed to be. Or maybe that's on your website.
Yeah, that's on my website. I was
yeah.
like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. I love that though, that you are just, that your faith is important to you
It is.
and
Totally.
that, you're letting God unfold it the way it's supposed to be.
I
So,
try to let him do it more and more.
same here.
Instead of just doing things and hoping that he's okay with it.
Right.
It's better to get aligned with him. So yeah,
Absolutely.
still getting better at that.
Well, that's why I wanted to end that on a positive note.
Yeah.
And so if you like what you're hearing, please make sure that you go to my YouTube page, See the Unseen, and subscribe. And that's the end of our podcast. So thanks for joining.
Thank you.